The billionaire might have a point, but Matty Duppler and Jenna Caldwell are wondering who pays for that. John, of course, you're always so cheap about these issues. So your view...
I know. Remember the water I offered you?
Your view is that you think it's just a bad idea. But help me out.
Yeah, I think we already give out a handout, and it's called a job application. You keep applying for as many of them as possible, and then one day you get this salary. So, you know, as someone who comes from a very impoverished background, one who's seen public assistance go to some of the very needy, I can tell you that even if you're giving people $1,000 a month, there'll still be people sleeping on the streets. And this kind of thinking is so flawed. I just don't understand. How do you become a billionaire with these kind of thoughts? You need to help people up, give them a safety net, but the safety net is only temporary. And that's where we should be more in line thinking, because there's more jobs than there are people to fill them in the U.S. economy today.
You know, I think the impetus for this, Jason, came from this idea that, and Branson's expressed it, I know Bill Gates has expressed it, a host of others like Elon Musk have said that with artificial intelligence and all of this, we're going to have more free time on our hands, and we ought to have a way to buttress that with some guaranteed income. But that just compounds it, doesn't it?
No, well, I actually agree with you in many ways that you can't just give people money. And I actually agree with Gianno that that's actually a poor way of addressing this. However, mechanization and AI is coming. That's without a doubt. And we know through generations that this has happened before, particularly when low-wage people ask for higher wages. Capitalism is not benevolent. Capitalism is about profits. So
why should it be up to the government there to do that? Matty, that's what I'm worried about, that the government then is filling that gap into the technology reality of the world.
Right. I mean, you know what's not benevolent is government policies that keep wages from rising for the past 8 years, which is exactly what we just experienced under the Keynesian economics of the last administration. Listen, there is no better jobs policy than a robust economy, and that is what we are experiencing right now. We're finally going to see some of that growth that workers have been looking for in their own incomes over time, simply because of getting rid of the barriers to taxes, regulation, and the other problems that the American economy has been up against. But if you're looking at these ideas like the basic income, giving more money, they're not addressing the real issue, which is, do we have infrastructure in this country that supports workers as our economy changes? I would argue we do not, and probably the entire panel agrees with me. We need to be looking, though, at what the right answer is. And the public policy answer here is making sure that we're training workers for the modern economy and not trying to equip workers for jobs that won't be here 10, 20 years from now.
Gianna, the flip side of that, and a lot of these folks say it saves money in the longer run if you provide a base by which these folks do not have to then rely on the government for all these other ancillary services. It saves money in the end. What do you think?
Yeah, but there's not a lot of financial education out there for people to even have whatever government assistance that they have now that they can save, prepare for their kids' colleges, etc. So what you end up doing is just throwing good money after bad, in the sense that people get the money and they waste it. It's just like some of the government assistance programs that we see today. People end up wasting it more and more because they're not educated on how to save it and how to rid themselves from whatever poverty they're in.
You know, Jason, I think it was Branson who said something to the effect, not so much about the $1,000 a month, but a cash handout of some sort would grow the economy in that it would be stimulative and help pay for itself down the road. In other words, it would, you know, be a pay it forward thing. Do you agree with that?
Unfortunately, no, I don't. I mean, I think what people need is income generating assets like stocks and bonds, financial literacy.
Jason, do your friends know you're saying this on this show right
now? Well, listen, you didn't let me get to universal health care. You didn't let me get to, you know, things like an estate tax.
He that in later. That was a throwaway line.
All right, that's what but Matty, I mean, on this, I mean, you know, we've heard this. Finland experimented with this briefly,
exactly.
And it's trying to adjust it, not working out the way it is. So people's hearts are always in the right place, and then they have to figure out how to implement it and realizes that it doesn't work.
Neil, that's the difficulty of the left, right, is that the means always justify the ends for them. If they have the right motivation for the policy itself doesn't really matter. I fundamentally disagree with that. What we need is infrastructure that supports the American workplace where it is today. And we need to have education, we need to have the infrastructure that allows workers to succeed. Having a basic wealth transfer from one echelon of society to the other is not only a foolhardy policy, because we've tried it for the last couple of years, we know it doesn't work. It also does not give us the long-term solvency that both my fellow compatriots on the panel have been talking about. This is short-lived if you're thinking about just taking money from one person to give it to another. That doesn't give us long-term benefits for workers everywhere.
All right, guys. I wish we had more time, but we've settled a lot of social crises at the same time, so I appreciate that.
If only everyone listened to us.
Happy and safe
Happy 4th of
4th
July.
to all of you.